When I looked out that door, that water was coming out. I said, this cannot be real. When I was sitting in that house that night getting ate up by the mosquitoes, I said, this cannot be real. It was a nightmare. And I was stuck there, but it got to the point where it messed me up so bad. When they did rescue me, and I had to go through all the rescuing, I got to the place I couldn't remember nobody's number. And they had people on hand, like nurses and stuff, to help with the ventilator. And she said, it's normal. I couldn't remember nobody's number for 2 weeks. Nobody knew where that's how much I went through. Dealing in that water and dealing through all that. I couldn't, it was like, and I kept saying, and I'm thinking, I said, I know I'm not crazy. Because I know these numbers. I had lost myself. And I couldn't think of not one number. And that was amazing. And it was to the point, it was so bad that for about another week, I couldn't stand up. Because when I stand up, I feel like I'm about to fall. And they said that was just for stress. I couldn't walk without being dizzy. Man, it was real bad for me. It was real bad, but I made it through. But as I look at it, some people may say, well, man, I could be strong and I could go through that. And no, don't think I was the same way. I was raised on the street. I knew I was a bad boy. I was gonna handle this. And Katrina took a lot out of me. It took a lot out of me. I didn't think she was that strong, but she took a lot out of me, man.
I guess it wouldn't be original words. It would be pretty much like one of our older publications. It was just saying to make sure all day can just hold on. That expression, hold on, hold fast, cling to what's real and the truth. That's the real life. Cling on. They've heard it so many times, so many different ways, but it all comes back to me. It makes more sense now. Just hold on to what really matters. Stuff like this is going. Now you have your memories, your everyday things. Like we said, we could easily say goodbye to the furniture and all that stuff, the pictures, the personal relationships. But now we've come to know, what closer relationship, what more redeeming relationship could we have than the one with Jehovah? So cherish that, and everything He gives you with that. That's all that really matters. It's been amazing the way the brothers just rescued us. Mm-hmm. We call it that's Jehovah's hand. It just comes. But that's what we've got to look forward to.
Mm-hmm.
So coming back to see, I guess I was curious, and the city was putting signs on the door about I had 30 days to do this, that, or the other. I said, let me come and see just what are they talking about. I've done what I thought reasonably needed to be done. Had no intention of doing much anything else, and had it not been accepted as part of a collateral for a loan, because I thought it was pretty much useless. I didn't care if it fell over, burned up. I didn't care. But then when the word came that there was a need for housing, I'm saying, maybe it still has some utility. The brothers do whatever they want to do. So when they're asking me, well, what you want? Just go on. Yeah, just don't tear it down because it's SBA has a lien on it. So, but just whatever you want to do.
Overall,
we're all in that same spot. It's like we're seeing shells of each other, kind of. We're there, but every one of us lost part of ourselves when those levees broke. And when I talk to each other, something I don't see anymore in the friends is the smiles that we all used to have. Those huge, what we call Kool-Aid smiles, like you'd see on the Kool-Aid commercial with that huge smile. We're fortunate to be alive, of course. We're glad that the brothers are helping. But you don't see the smiles like they used to be here, because you lost places where you've seen your whole life. You've lost, it's the simple stuff that you don't even realize you'd miss, like that sister that always gave a crazy comment in the congregation. You didn't know you'd miss that. That brother who always took the whole paragraph for his comment. You didn't realize you would even miss that. You didn't. You did not realize you would miss that until it was taken from you.
It was yours,
It was yours.
Right or wrong, that congregation was our own.
Exactly.
And it was everything we knew, and that's what you see. You see friends who, they're in a new congregation, and they love it, but it's not what they
It's
had.
not what.
Probably after being gone away from home, we evacuated about 2 days before the storm, and we went to Alexandria, Louisiana, by some brothers and sisters out there. And it was like 8 weeks before we was able to get back home, and we didn't know what to expect. And upon coming back home, there was a lot of different things that needed to be done and stuff around the house, and I just didn't have no spirit to do anything. And my wife kept saying, honey, come on, we got to do this. And I said, I'm gonna get to it, honey, but my spirit just was not there to do anything. And little did I know I was going through, a post-traumatic stress. All the reality of everything was just coming down on me at once, and it was just a lot to deal with and to handle. And it may have taken about 2 weeks before, I started feeling back like myself. But during that time, I didn't have any energy to do anything, not even spiritual, not even to read anything. But gradually, Jehovah blessed me, and I was able to stand back up on my feet and to kind of put it behind me, so to speak. So that's pretty much the extent of, the hurt and stuff that I felt and how it affected me over that time.
It made me rely on Jehovah more, and it made me appreciate what the meetings did for you. Because studying is good, studying is beneficial, but the meetings, you really understand how you're being sharpened at the meetings. I realized that I wasn't getting that just in my personal study. And the reports my wife would come back with in the talks, reading some word for word, the notes she would take. This is what the whole talk was, is all the scriptures. I realized how much we got from going to the building. Because the phone can only do so much, listening over the phone. But being there with the friends and seeing the faces of those who are beaten down by Satan all day long, just like you, but are at the meetings, I realized that I never want to take that for granted.
I feel bad, but these material things are nothing. I lost, a house, a few cars. It don't mean nothing. We got more than that coming. Mm-hmm. The main thing were, though, to meet all the friends in the Astrodome in Houston, Texas, and have them to get houses and being able to continue with their lives.
Did you see Jehovah's Spirit in action?
It had to be. Right there. And just think, I only found about 20 witnesses, but there's some 900 homes open for Jehovah's Witnesses. And the relief work out here, it's really amazing to see how these things come about. It's really something.
They said the hurricane had passed, and New Orleans had really minimal damage. And the eye caught Biloxi and not New Orleans. And it was like a sigh of relief, but it still was heartbreaking to know that Biloxi had gotten hit. But then later, we learned that sitting in my sister-in-law's living room, I'm looking at TV and just saw, they said New Orleans was under. So the only thing came to my mind is, that I thought about all the people I had worked with. I thought about all the friends and even people I didn't know.
When the hurricane first hit New Orleans, some of the friends' homes were reserved, meaning they could repair them, where mine was totally destroyed. So in attempt to come back home, I wasn't really worrying about the losses that I had. I was more trying to adjust to the environment, the food markets only maybe one store was open. McDonald's closed at 3. You stood outside in a line for the bank versus going inside. It was just, people were just very uptight, and just trying to adjust to their mental attitude began to affect me. So I came home temporarily, and I couldn't deal with it at all. I left. I relocated back to Nacogdoches, Texas, where I first evacuated to. And I stayed there 8 months, staying out in field service and really trying to come to a realization of what really had happened here in New Orleans. Well, after about 8 months, I did decide that I had to come with terms to what had happened to me, and that I didn't have a home to put back together. I came even worked at the hubs for the friends whose homes would be repaired, but I also knew my home was not included in that number because it was totally destroyed. And now I have to decide where I'm going to live. And at the same time, the cost of living had doubled. So not only was there no jobs, but every places we were renting for $500 and $600 was $1,000, $1,200. So it's almost like the plight to return had worked against me in addition to my losses, you see. So what I did is I kept praying to Jehovah, trying to come up with something reasonable that could allow me to come home and be with my brother, my mother who's a witness, and my family, because where I was, I had none. And so just through constant prayer, I ended up purchasing an RV and moving into a private RV park, which was very nominal in money. All my utilities was included. Everything was included in one little fee, made it very affordable. And I was just so glad that Jehovah allowed me to mentally use my thinking ability to resolve my living problem, because I wanted to live back here and help the city come back together and be among the I was among this congregation when I left, but I wasn't baptized. Katrina happened 2 months before my baptism. So I had to, my baptism was postponed. I ended up getting baptized with a new congregation that I didn't even belong to. So I had to join it, leave my brother. They wasn't at my baptism. My study lady, the lady aided me into the truth. She had relocated to another place, and I was by myself. I didn't have any family, and I had to get through that whole process and still make it through my baptism.
Mm-hmm. You said a couple things. You talked about the ministry. How did the ministry play a role in your recovery?
Well, I was very blessed when I went to Nacogdoches. When we first got there and we were brought to the hall, and families had taken us in. Once we realized we wasn't going home, well, Jehovah allowed me to be placed with 2 full-time pioneers. And they had sold their home and joined the full-time ministry. So naturally, living with them, I went out in field service with 2 regular pioneers. Therefore, I began to regular pioneer, do the hours they were doing because I lived with them. So just over each month, I was doing 50 to 70 hours in the ministry. And before I knew it, I was so intrigued that the people felt like, you're a victim of Katrina and you're knocking on doors talking about Jehovah God. You see, so I was able to give Jehovah a fine witness. And really, I had forgotten about my problems. But in the end, Jehovah allowed me to understand that keeping that first allowed me to forget about my problems. But then again, it gave me an opportunity to simplify my life, just like these 2 regular pioneers, so I could also make a goal of regular pioneering. So it worked out wonderfully in the end.
Look at the smile on your face. You could tell you're a pioneer.
No, that's a goal of mine, but
You're not regular yet?
Not yet, but
You
they
will
showed
be.
me a path in which would lead to that. You see, I have a clear direction on how to achieve that goal.
Mm-hmm. Unreal.
I said that we leave with all our neighbors, and we just like to leave with you.
Who are you with?
I'm one of Jehovah's Witnesses.
No, I don't. I have my own religion. I do not need any information on yours.
No, we're not.
Good morning.
We're not discussing religion.
Oh, well. You know what, brother?
Mm-hmm.
Good thing we're not the judges. It's Jehovah and Jesus.
So?
They're doing their judging right now.
Oh, yeah.
You know that. They don't want it. Hey, not our deal.
That's the point.
You did the best you could.
So, if she is happy with that, I'm taking it down.
There you go. Yep.
See?
Yeah, because
Brother, you got all that stuff.
Because you did that. Because you did your job. Look at you're still running to the next door, Brother Sutton. I love it.
Next one.
I was talking to our district overseer's wife, Sister Allen, and she was saying, you know, you guys have already been tested. She said, so when the Great Tribulation breaks out, I want to look for you, because you look like you don't. I said, this was the test? I said, if this is the test, I said, then we're going to do all right during the Great Tribulation, because Jehovah has wrapped his arm around us through the Friends, through his organization. And if this was supposed to be the test, we'll do all right. I said, I gotta see us through this. And what's that scripture that says, the blessings of Jehovah, that's what makes rich, and he has no pain with it? I said, we look back and we see that it was a big catastrophe. Yes, we lost things, but we came out with our lives, and our children were in safety, but they're still serving Jehovah. So that's what means the most. I don't care if they would give us the best house in New Orleans and our children weren't serving Jehovah, or we lose anybody, you know, that in our family to not serving Jehovah, that would be the big loss. But every day that we wake up and we all serving Jehovah, that's the big thing now. That's the riches. That's the riches. That's what we just so thankful for every time we wake up.
Mm-hmm. Oh, one day in the life, huh? Is that a normal thing?
Huh?
Is that normal?
Yeah, time to time. That just means somebody needs some help. There's a lot of old people here.
Is there?
And they're getting them to hospitals. Got to get them fast with heart, you know.
So were you a singer?
I sang and danced. When I met some of these, I was working in the chorus at the Apollo Theater in New York. But later I became, my husband started the Apollo Theater in New York many years ago. Mm-hmm. And he became my manager, and I married him.
How long were you in the business for?
Actually about 11 years, 10 to 11 years.
You danced and sang?
I danced and sang, but I remembered we had witnesses that lived next door, and they said to me, when I told them I was going to show me, she said, well, what are you going to do with the rest of your life? Because I was 18 at the time. Well, 10 years is the rest of your life. And then after I got the truth 33 years later, I said, oh, that's what she was talking about. But I got witness to all that time I was in show business.
Oh, my goodness.
Everywhere I went, I was witness, including down here, on the road, everywhere I went.
How long you been here?
My husband died in 92, so I never meant to stay, but I've been here since 92.
How long you been in the truth for?
40 years.
Good for
40,
you.
the most wonderful years of my life.
Better than show business.
Oh, I can't tell you. I love the glory of it, but I don't want that glory anymore.
Can I sit down and talk to you?
It's Revelation 3:2.
Which says?
It says, be watchful and strengthen the things that are ready to die. So by me being encouraged by all the friends, I asked Jehovah, could he please use me in an outstanding way to encourage the friends too? And sure enough, everything that Jehovah give me spiritually, I give it back. Especially, I ask Jehovah for the perception of people that really need it, feel like they're dying in the inside, but don't look like it on the outside. And sure enough, every time I give something spiritually on a CD or a tape, or a scripture or a talk or something to somebody, they say this is just what I needed. And I tell them that's Jehovah. And let me tell you about that, yes indeed. A sister came to our congregation from Arizona, a Mexican sister. And the brother Burke put her with me. I don't know why, but he put her with me. So we went in field service, we went in return business, and then we went to the restaurant. And you know, when I really love something, I say, yes, indeed. So by the time we dropped her off to her car, and she got out the car, she said, bye, Antonia. I said, bye. Her name was Rita. I said, bye, Rita Wood. She said, yes, indeed.
Give me a louder one than that. Give me one. Give me a really good one.
Yes, indeed. I don't believe I'm doing this.
No, that was awesome. What do you think of this assembly, girl? What do you think of this assembly? Tell me how you feel about it right now. How do you feel in your heart right now?
In my heart, how I feel about this assembly?
Right now.
If we actually listen to what Jehovah is telling us, we will keep living an abundant life, living on the interest of treasuring up stores in heaven, of storing up treasures in heaven, plus drawing that account into paradise. All we gotta do is keep listening to Jehovah. Keep listening to Jehovah and give it to others. Matthew 22, 37 through 39.
You're excited, aren't you?
Yes, how you could tell?
You must be a pioneer.
No.
You're not?
No.
You want to be, though, don't
But my
you?
goal, how you know?
Because I know already. I read you like a book, man.
My
Look at your eyes. Look at your face. Look at your smile.
My goal is a pioneer.
How long you been in the truth for?
In January.
How long you been in the truth for?
I say, I gotta count them. "26 years, but I've come to fall in love with Jehovah 4 years.
Ah, you and me are a lot alike, girl. Guess what? I'm 48 years old. I was raised in the truth, and I'm about in the same place you are too.
That's why I'm so excited.
And you know what I'm talking about.
Yes.
I don't need to say anymore.
I learned the hard way to love Jehovah. I didn't listen to him. I learned the hard way. And when I finally listened to him after 21 years, and I finally listened to him, he grabbed me like a daddy. He grabbed me like a mother. He grabbed me like a best friend would. And he loved me far exceeding where I could ever love him. Every day, every minute, every second, every hour.
You ready? Tell me, sister, how long you been in the truth for?
I've been in the truth 30-some years.
And how'd you get the truth?
A young lady, she was a friend to my daughter, and they were going to school together.
Yeah.
And I had missed her. I had missed her because we didn't live so apart. And I had missed her a while. And then when she came by me with the brochure.
Oh, brochure?
Yeah. And she told me she had got baptized. She had come into the truth. She got baptized. And then she come by and brought a magazine by and told me, you know, I done got baptized as Jehovah's Witness. I didn't know too much about Jehovah's Witness. I had heard about them because everybody I heard, they was talking something bad against them. And I told her, I said, you Jehovah's Witness? She said, yeah. He said, don't you want to be one? I said, of course, if you want. So from then on, she studied with me. She ain't in the truth.
Tell Jamie how many years you've been a pioneer for.
I've been a pioneer ever since I've been in the truth. Because I was making the time, but I didn't know nothing about no pioneer. I was making the time, and a brother, I think it was Maurice, had told me, he said, you know, he said, Young, say you making pioneer time, so all you need to do is to sign up for it, because you're making the time. And I've been pioneer ever since I've been in the truth.
Never quit. And how old are you? How old are you?
How old I am? 80. How old I am?
80 what?
85.
85. How did you stay in such good shape, sister? I want to know what's your secret to being so sharp.
Eating red beans and rice.
You know, I think about brothers in Asia. I think about the tsunami that happened, where over 200-something thousand persons lost their lives, and our brothers in the different parts of the world that was affected by natural disasters and continue to be affected by it, and how Jehovah's organization have really come to the assistance of the brothers. So now it's happened here, unprecedented. And it's not about the loss of things, not about material things. When I left here, my experience was a little bit different because when I left here, I left before the storm. The brothers, we had a pretty good evacuation plan in place for several years on the circuit level. And it was really well organized and executed, I think, though they had flaws in it. So I was in Texas in the Arlington area in the comfort of my son's home, sitting in his living room watching things unfolding in New Orleans. So my experience from that standpoint was a little different in that I was not in the city itself. But really what touched me is the love that the brotherhood have, and especially what I really appreciate, and I already appreciate this since I was a little kid, the faithful and free slave class, with its governing body taking the lead, the genuine love that they have for all the brothers around the entire world. And I remember one time that, because of cleaning, I've been the cleaning overseer for our district convention for several years. I've been cleaning over 30 years. And I remember brother, I forgot the brother name right now. Oh, I almost called his name, from the convention department, came down. Brother Wiggly, I think, and a few other brothers. And he mentioned something to me that really impressed me. When he talked to us, he brought the brothers and the overseers and the assistants and talked with them about how things were going along with the convention organization. And he emphasized something to me. He said, Brother Raymond, the faithful and free slave class, when they organize conventions or anything they do, there's one principle that they keep in mind. And it was James 1:27, where he said, for the form of worship, reference to the form of worship that is clean and undefiled from the same point of Jehovah, is to look after orphans and widows in the tribulation. So he said, Brother Raymond, so when the Christian congregation organize these conventions, they keep in mind the widows and the fatherless boys and the orphans. He said, for example, if you're working and have a job, if a room costs you $200 a night, you're going to come. But the widow and fatherless boy won't be able to come. So the Christian congregation organize things in such a manner to keep these in mind, the disadvantaged ones. And that really impressed on my mind at that time, the need to cooperate fully with the faithful and the free slave class and their arrangements. So now I brought that thought up to date to here when I think about all the work that the brothers and sisters are doing and the relief effort. Of course, all the brothers in the brotherhood are benefiting from it. But I think about the orphans and the widows, the older friends, and those who are at a great disadvantage, even more so than what I am. What a loving arrangement Jehovah organization have to really help to get them back into their homes, but for the purpose of true worship. And that's the thing that really warmed my heart, because you have other organizations and volunteer groups that have come into the area, that are in the area, doing a wonderful work, a wonderful humanitarian work. But the work that the brothers here are doing is not so much from just a humanitarian effort, but it's a spiritual reason behind it. And when I go back in my neighborhood where I live at, there's at least 22 homes in the block I live in. And right to this day, after 14 months after this disaster, there's only one guy back, my next door neighbor, that's back in his home, and it's not completed. My neighbor across the street, she beginning to work on her home. She said hopefully by the first of the year she'll be back. So that still remain 20-something homes empty. These people who are my neighbors, I've been living next door to in the same community with for 30 years. So it's not about things, but it's about the disruption of people's lives. And when you see the brothers, and I see the younger brothers around, young men and women willingly volunteering to labor and the time and energy along with older ones. It really warmed my heart, and it really made me cry, not from the standpoint of sadness, but it made me cry from the standpoint of joy. Like the scripture say, come in before Jehovah with a joyful cry. So the cry that I have is not one of sorrow, but it's one of joy.
I think the way that Jehovah came to the rescue of the brothers shows that Jehovah, he was there, he will always be there for his people. So I look at it like it's he's preparing us for the future. I'm ready to walk into the new world, leaving everything behind in this system of things, because I know I'm already prepared in my heart to do that. Because when I came back here, I didn't know what was going to be here, but I was prepared, if I didn't have nothing, to keep going serving Jehovah and to doing his will, and forget about whatever else. Let's get this spiritual thing going first, and everything else will take care of itself. So Jehovah provides for his people. He never lets us down.
That's big too, because the brothers need to hear that. Other places, how fast life can change. Like,
that's
boom.
Just it.
You know that now
That's
too.
just it.
You lost everything.
Everything.
Overnight.
Overnight.
And you still got a smile on your face.
And I'm happier. I
You
had
happier?
an opportunity to simplify my life, because if I didn't have nothing now, I can either choose to go and reattain those things and put my back up against the wall, worrying how to maintain them, or I can leave them as a loss and continue to do with just what I need and concentrate on serving Jehovah and live for the real life now. Now I live for that other life, not this one. I just need some hot water, some soap, a little food, some clothes. I'm good to go.
So trailer life's not that bad.
Nah, not at all.
So if you could tell friends about trailer life, what would you say?
I would say it's the simple eye that makes the whole body bright.
A lot of us washed away with our belongings. A lot of us just washed away. It's just, there's no other way of putting it. I mean, that's just what it is now. And I don't feel bad for us feeling that way, because I say, if you put anyone through what we went through, and people sometimes without thinking say, well, I've had to leave home before. Yeah, I'm sure you have, but it was your choice a lot of the times. It was your choice. It's different from 9/11, because those were office buildings. No one raised their families in the World Trade Centers. No one met for meetings at the Kingdom Hall in the World Trade Centers. No one had their hair cut there. No one had restaurants that they and their family often went to after service. No one went to field service as groups in the World Trade Centers. When those towers fell, people were at home that night sleeping in their homes. When those levees fell, there was no home to return to and sleep. It cannot be compared at all. It's almost an insult to compare it, because that was two buildings. That was not a city.
If you wanted to tell the friends, that are gonna watch this, what would you tell them? What would you tell them? What could they do? What could they do? What could they do, Robert, to prepare themselves for what we're about ready to have after going through what you went through?
The best
you
thing.
Understand we're about ready to hit something big.
The best thing the friends could do, the best thing they can do, is stop storing up treasures here on earth. And I say that because I know so many people who had just gotten something, a brand new car, had just had a baby shower. They had just accumulated something materialistic. So many people I knew, in an instant, when those walls of those levees fell, it was gone. And there was nothing they can do about it. But your relationship with Jehovah cannot be affected by toxic mold and waters from the lakes and rivers. That's intact. So if they just take one thing from this video, let it be to focus on the brotherhood in your relationship with Jehovah. That's going to be the only thing that gets you through. Not a FEMA number, nothing like that. It's your relationship with Jehovah. We may find ourselves completely separated from the friends in a town you've never heard of, where you are the only servant of Jehovah. what are you going to do then? What are you going to do when you're faced with the need to pray to Jehovah in front of somebody that's not a witness and may not understand what you're doing or may not like witnesses? What are you going to do?
When all these other organizations have gone, when the cameras is not there, when news media have gone as something of something else of interest to the people in general, Jehovah's organization is going to be right here for the brothers. And true to his words, Jehovah is loyal, as Revelation mentioned. He's the loyal one. And so Jehovah's organization is loyal to the brothers. And we see evidence of that. And this is what makes me, when I come around the hubs and look at the brothers and sisters busy, have spent their own funds or their own resources to come here to help the brothers, it just makes me want to just cry out with appreciation. Because there's no amount of money or monetary value that you can put on what the brothers and sisters are doing. So for me personally, what it does, it calls me to draw closer to Jehovah, closer to my brothers and sisters. And it makes me, as an elder in the congregation, want to do more when it comes to shepherding the friends, to try to be some form of consolation to the friend. Because just like myself and others, the friends are going through post-traumatic stress. And we don't realize it sometimes. But we're all going through it, all of us. So if as elders, if we're going through post-traumatic stress because of what we see around us, and we are the shepherds in the congregation, then how much more so are Jehovah's sheep? How much more so are the little lambs, as Jesus called them, going through this post-traumatic stress? So it just emphasized to me the need as an elder to be vigilant and to do whatever I can to be a source of encouragement to the brothers and sisters in whatever little way that I can. But it just overwhelming. It just beyond human comprehension. That's a person themselves that really have come down here, have witnessed it, have seen it with their own eyes. Television, the news media really cannot capture truly what has happened here. So, again, it's a reflection of what's going on, of the relief effort, of the loving brotherhood. Though imperfect, though the brothers have problems, like everything else, you have your differences of opinions and viewpoints, and like one brother always say, opinions are like noses. Everyone has one. So everyone always can look and get their opinion and feel that it should be done this way, that way, of the better way. But one thing I always appreciated, an older brother taught me when I was a young guy, just follow the direction of Jehovah's Spirit in the organization. If you do that, keep your eyes on the leadership that's Christ Jesus using today. And if we do that, then we can't go wrong. Better to be wrong with Jehovah's organization than to be wrong in going against the organization. Because if we're wrong with it and be loyal, then Christ Jesus will make the necessary adjustments and changes. So in the meantime, we just simply do our little part, and then Jehovah will bless the overall operation. And once again, our thanks to the brothers, especially to the governing body. That Jesus is using in these last days. Special thanks to the faithful slave. Excuse me. Just like to want to say thank you, brothers. Thank you for your emotional, your spiritual support, especially in these areas, because we're more concerned with our spirituality, like our brothers in Africa was and are doing their difficult difficult times that they're going through right now in such places that in the Sudan and other places like that. We think about our brothers in the Middle East. Think of our brothers in Eastern Europe that's having a difficult time. Our brothers in France that's having a difficult time with the authorities. The example that they set in those countries has been an inspiration for us here to put in proper perspective our priorities. And it is not about things, material things, but it's about our relationship with Jehovah and putting kingdom interests first. So once again, thank you, brothers. We want to say thank you.
What would you encourage them to do? We just said it.
Full-time ministry.
I tell the friends that don't never think that you're doing Jehovah a favor by going into ministry, because he don't need us. He don't need us to preach, but it's a privilege that he extends to us to go out. So we should take it as a privilege and be joyful in doing it. And that's why I'm out here, let's laughing, joyful in the ministry.
Oh.
What has pioneering done for you?
It has
Does it put this Kool-Aid smile on your face?
Absolutely. I mean, you could ask him how I come home every day. We're just bubbling with stories and this study and this return visit. And I met another person today that said I could come back. And, you know, then just the encouragement that I get being out there with these older sisters who have a lifetime of experience and so much to teach. I couldn't stress enough, even if your situation won't allow you to pioneer, as much as you can, get out there with those old, especially the older friends.
Me too.
You can learn so much from them. And then something else I would tell the friends as far as what we're about to go through is to, like when you asked if I had missed any meetings, I did miss a few meetings, and I had contemplated going out with people that I met through my mom who's not in the truth, and then did go out a few times, and I started kind of falling away. But when I went to that meeting that I told you about and that sister grabbed a hold of me, she wasn't gonna let me go out there. I was weak, you know, I had been through so much and didn't know what to do. And she grabbed me and wouldn't let me go. Do that for your friends. Call them. I mean, it may be somebody you don't know and you're just meeting them for the first time, but if you know that they've been through something like this, and you know, well, I don't feel comfortable calling somebody that I don't know, that I just met. They need you. We need each other. Help, support, encourage. Somebody did it for me when I was down. I owe it to my brothers and sisters to do it for them.
What's happening, it reminds me that what's happening to reminds me when Brother Noah, former president of the Watchtower Bible and Tract Society, came and paid us a visit in New Orleans back in 1967. And I remember one of the talks he gave, and it really left an impression on me. He was talking about the Great Tribulation. And he mentioned about our brothers such as in Mexico, and other what we consider third world countries, undeveloped countries, how they live close to the earth and they have very little, and how some people look down on them. But he said those brothers are better prepared for the Great Tribulation than what we are, because they're used to living with very little. But here in this land of plenty, we are spoiled. And he mentioned at that time, back in 1967, he said he wondered whether or not, brothers, we are really ready and prepared in the United States for the Great Tribulation. He was very much concerned about us here in this country. And it's been almost 40 years, 39 years ago. So even in things like this, just with a natural disaster that is localized to a certain area, and it's affected us to the extent that it has. Really, when the tribulation breaks out, Brother Noah mentioned, it's going to be global. So are we really prepared for that event? And that left an impression on my mind back then. The need to keep myself and my family built up spiritually, to prepare us from when that great tribulation breaks out, because at that time, FEMA won't be around, governmental assistance won't be around. In fact, the whole world is going to turn on God's people. So if we can't make it through this situation here that we're experiencing for the last 14, 15 months, and we have the support of the Brotherhood, we have the support to a great degree of Caesar, then what are we going to do when the Great Tribulation breaks out? When the whole world will draw its support in any form from Jehovah's people. So it's good training. It brings out the better in us. It brings out the worst. But it's to serve a purpose, as like James mentioned. It's a test. It's a trial, we could say. Not a test, but a trial. As James mentioned, endure it. Because by doing that, it helps us to appreciate and to understand what are our strengths, what are our weaknesses. Now we know, okay, well, I'm pretty strong in this area, though I always need to work on it. But now I know that this area over here, maybe it might be self-control, or it may be patience, or whatever. Now I need to work harder to strengthen my spirituality in this area of life. So when Brother Noah gave that talk after the storm happened, my mind reflected back to that particular special event we had here. And to really examine my own self personally to see what am I doing to prepare myself and my wife to meet the challenges that lies ahead. But I never forgot that event back there and the comments of Brother Noah. It really was faith strengthening and yet sobering to really make a self-examination of ourselves to see just what are we doing in this world, in this country, we could say, of plenty, over an abundance of things. And we know in the world today, everything is about things, and more things. But in Jehovah's organization, it's about people. It's about our relationship with Jehovah. So I remember that event. And things like this just really bring it to the forefront of my mind of what Brother Noah said back then. Whether or not we are really ready in the United States for the Great Tribulation. So, brothers, continue to find work that you brothers are doing.
Thanks.
Okay.
You know, Katrina was a catastrophic type. We know that the Bible says that the tribulation will be something we've never seen, nor will we see again. So it lets us know that if it's going to be worse than Katrina, then we're definitely going to be seeing something major. However, to see Katrina makes us have a good, vivid picture of what that really means. So we know not to treasure up much. We know to stay, to keep on the watch. Katrina some of our friends got 30 feet of water. That's like Noah's Day to me, you know. So my mind is more prepared, my heart is more prepared for the catastrophic events that's going to take place. I do believe that has prepared me.
Yeah, I agree with that. Absolutely. And talking with some of the neighbors in the track work down in Davan in those areas, we said, we don't see no water line. How high was the water down here? 30 to 60 feet, they said it was. We couldn't believe it. But it was repeated over and over again while we was out in the ministry. Mm-hmm. So we know it was true, you know. So, like she said, it was Noah's Day in that area for sure.
Well, with Katrina and the campaign, you got to know, by it being so close together, made us very prepared. So had the track come maybe 3 years after Katrina, may not have had much oof to us. But because of the time of Katrina and the track, meaning we know immediately after false religion ends, the rest is to take place immediately thereafter. So we got Katrina and the track, so we got our game faces on for what's ahead of us.
Do you think it's close?
Yes, I do.
I do too.
You know, it's true. We need to simplify, but the speed with which our lives change forever is something that I know will prepare us for Armageddon. The fact in a matter of hours, everything we knew everything we knew changed in a matter of hours. It re-emphasizes how there'll be a speeding up of things. It really emphasizes that. Sadly, too many of us went back to like the storm never happened.
Seriously.
Seriously,
You mean
too
New
many
Orleans,
of us.
New Orleans.
People who were affected and friends who were looking on. They didn't stop to do a self-examination. The Watchtowers, that's all they've been talking about recently. Re-examine yourself. Draw closer to your brothers. Learn to love your brothers. Look at the Israelites, how they murmured. Don't murmur like that. Go along with what you're learning.
Why do you suppose that's happening right now?
Because we're human and we're the most imperfect
but
people.
Why do you suppose the faithful slave is telling us that right now?
Because they want us to know that when this goes down, it won't be a slow process. It'll be an overnight thing like those levees falling, and you will have to listen to your brothers.
I got one more question for you. Are you going to be able to bring those into the new world? Huh? Because if you are they size 11? I'd like to have a pair. Huh? Actually, if I warm, do you think I'm having sisters on like Sister Young on the other side? Do you know Sister Young, 85 years old?
Yes.
She's going to teach me to be a soul brother. Guess what I'm eating now? Red beans and rice. Yeah.
I love red beans and rice.
I do too.
Fried chicken.
Oh, I like the fried chicken too.
That's one of my favorites.
But if I got a pair of shoes like that, I think I'd be in trouble.
It's encouraging to all of us what you guys are going through, and it's encouraging to see how Jehovah takes care of all of us.
Yes, he does.
And he answers our prayers.
Yes, he does.
Each and every one of
like
us.
a brother called me and he told me, he said, "Sister, is anything you need?" I said, "Brother, I was in the apartment up there in Baton Rouge. I got a one-bedroom. I got a stove." I said, "Brother, I'm fine." I said, "I got a roof over my head. I got something to eat.
May I have your attention,
I'm fine."
please?
And that's the way I feel. As long as I got something in covering and I'm able to serve Jehovah, I'm fine.
Hi.
Hello. My name is Curtis Sutton, and we are engaged in the distributing a very important message worldwide. And I would like to leave a copy with you this morning.
Not today, thank you.
Okay, you have a good day.
Thank you.
2 in a row.
Next door, next door, next door.
Awesome, you're doing good.
Since we're down here, this is a little young Sodom and Gomorrah. But you have to keep a spirit of a sound mind. They have to be preached to.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Just like the days of Lot.
That's correct.
It's a nasty place down here too, isn't it?
That's correct.
Mm-hmm.
Just stay off the devil's ground, that's all.
How long you been pioneering for, Brother Thomas?
Oh, this is my third year.
Really?
Yeah.
Would you
I'm
rather?
a baby pioneer.
Would you rather be doing anything else?
No.
Well, me?
I don't know nothing else. I've been pioneering for 27 years. You take me out of that, I'm like a duck out of water. I don't know nothing else. You put me in these jobs, I don't know.
I gotta tell you, brother, Sutton, you got the nicest shoes on the street. Those are awesome, man. I like them.
What size you wear?
Those look what?
What size you wear?
I wear size 11.
And I got the nicest on the street?
Yeah.
Okay, you can have.
Oh, you would too, wouldn't you?
I would give them to you, that's right.
No way.
Can you wear?
Man, look at those things. Those look like you wore those when you were a disco dancer back in 19...
Oh, I'm just kidding. I'll get away from you.
Oh, you sure you weren't like a disco dancer back in the 70s?
I was in that.
You were, weren't you? You were.
I was in that day.
You were, huh?
Oh, yes, indeed.
I bet you had some moves, man. I bet you did. I bet you still have some moves.
I did. I loved it to dance.
Oh, you do, huh?
I just can't do it now. I got old. I'm pushing 50. But oh yeah, in my
Pushing
day,
it.
I loved to dance.
Mm-hmm.
Me too.
You like to dance too?
Dancing, whatever. I was a whatever one.
Dance or whatever.
Whatever. I was a whatever.
Whatever flip your vote,
Yeah.
huh?
Whatever came. Mm.
You're there. You're on it.
Yeah, I think I did a little more than dance.
Uh,
I did.
All right.
I enjoyed it though at that time, but I don't want to go back.
Only one thing. since we've been pioneering, we haven't had a good vacation.
Yeah.
Where do you want to go?
We want to go to Hawaii.
You want to go with me?
We want to go with Brother Mackie to Hawaii. That would be the greatest blessing. Jehovah has blessed us with cars, given and blessed us with food, blessed us with money, blessed us with everything. But we want to go to Hawaii.
I've never been to Hawaii.
We have never been to Hawaii,
I love
but we
it.
would really need a vacation. My husband said, baby, we need a vacation.
That would be a dream vacation.
All we do is help people with the Bible. We say we need a vacation. He said, I need a vacation. So we took our honeymoon to go visit Bethel. The first year of because I had been every year just about. I would have rather been to Hawaii, but no, I wanted him to go to Bethel. Now we don't have no money if we want to go, but if somebody tell us we going, we can start saving. Pray to Jehovah. Yeah. You know that's our heart desire.
I tell you what, can't wait till the new world get here.
Yeah, we won't even have to deal with money anymore.
That's right.
No more money problems.
What's brother son say?
What did he say?
What did he say?
What did he say? I missed it.
Can you come here, man?
What did he say?
Didn't she say something about I can't wait for the new world to get here?
Yeah.
Well, I'm afraid she's gonna have to wait.
I still can't wait.
So now she got two choices.
Yeah.
She can wait on Jehovah and enjoy his beautiful green earth. Or she can disobey Jehovah and be fertilized for his green earth. How about that?
Brother son.
You want to be fertilizer or you want to wait on Jehovah?
Let's take a picture.
I am patiently waiting on Jehovah.
Good.
Let's
That's
stand right
good.
So I can enjoy the paradise earth.
What do you say to that, bro?
Excellent. Wish I could do that.
That was really good.
Yeah.
Did that make you want to cry?
Yeah, that was nice.
Thanks, bro.
Never heard it on the harmonica.
Thank you. Is Jehovah taking care of you?
Oh, has he? I haven't wanted from anything since before the storm. I went to Missouri, and I've been all over. I was in the Circuit Overseer Trail in Port Allen. I was in Baker, Baton Rouge. Then I ran from Rita in Texas. I went to Shreveport. Then I went back to Texas. But I haven't wanted for anything. My oxygen, my medicine. I had a roof over my head. Always had something to eat. Jehovah's still blessing me.
It's not about us, what we going through. It's about Jehovah, about us preaching, about us helping our neighbor to see that there's something better, God organization. That's what make you proud, you see. Because I felt like when after Katrina left, I know Jehovah didn't cause it. It was Satan tripping us up. And this was the chance for us to choose what we're going to serve Jehovah for material, or we're going to serve him because we don't have nothing. He found out we serve him because we don't have nothing. That's what he thought, but we had a brotherhood. He forgot about that. So it's not about us standing up. We was taught by the most high God in the universe. When you're taught by Jehovah and you keep your senses and grow mighty in this organization, that's what the strength comes from.